Hello and welcome to Training Tuesday, where we go through weekly tips and tricks to make your career just a little bit more awesome. This week, we are talking all about how to determine your professional path. Now, I'm in the final days of promotion for Find Your Purpose, Find Your Path, which is my new self-study program built to actually help those of you who are looking to make some decisions when it comes to your professional path, find that calling of yours, and you're not quite ready for one-on-one coaching. So this is built to actually be an accessible way to teach people the process I take my one-on-one clients through to help them find that North Star, that calling, that direction for their career as a whole. The doors are closing for that program on January 8th, so this Wednesday, and in honor of that, I wanted to be sure to share a little training for you today all about this idea of finding your professional path. So that's why this week we are digging into how to set a professional path, because a lot of people struggle with this. A lot of people don't do it very well, and there are a couple main reasons why they don't do it well. And so this week, I wanted to share with you a couple things. So first and foremost, one reason why people struggle with setting a professional path is because they fall into one of two buckets. And these buckets I've talked a little bit about before. And these are the buckets in ways in which people look at a professional path. So people tend to either look at a professional path in one of two ways. They either look at it as one, the planner, or two, the see where it takes me person. So the planner tends to be the person who really likes to have a prescriptive plan. They want their professional path to look like a 10-year plan that's mapped out and they know all of the intricacies of it. I'm going to do this for 5 years, and then I'm going to transition onto this team, then I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then I'm going to retire, and everything's going to be peachy. The challenge with this approach is that it can be really prescriptive, right? So we either end up putting blinders on to opportunities that aren't within that defined path, and sometimes we miss great things, or we set this really prescriptive plan, and then if we suddenly one day decide that one of those steps doesn't feel right for us anymore or doesn't feel good, it becomes terrifying. It feels like the world is bottoming out from under us. And I say that as someone who not only has had this happen to me, so I tend to fall into this planner bucket. I have been in that situation where I was like, wait, I thought this was what, the 10-step plan I wanted, and all of a sudden it doesn't feel right. But I've also seen this from countless clients who feel this way, right? So this planner approach doesn't necessarily work super well, nor does this other approach to a professional path, which is the let's see where it takes me. Because as really high performers, we tend to see people have the benefit of being able to, right, this thing that I call like the curse of the high performer. We tend to see people have this benefit of people bringing opportunities to them, wanting to kind of have them join their teams, this, that, and the other. But sometimes what can happen is these high performers, when they leave the professional path open to chance and saying, I'll just see what kind of comes up, and then I know that I'll just take the right opportunities as I go. The challenge with that is their career ends up looking like a zigzaggy line, right? They become a human pinball of sorts who their professional path is being, shot back and forth between all of these other people's futures for them, all of these other people's directions for them. It's being determined by people outside of ourselves. This approach also doesn't work well because the analogy I often use is it's like going on a hike without having a trail map. Maybe you stumble on something great, but it would be a lot easier if you knew where you were walking, right? And so neither of those approaches work particularly well, which is a big reason why people struggle with this professional path. The other major reason why people struggle with setting a clear path for their career is because many people fall victim to building their career off of others' expectations of success. So whether this be familial pressure of what's a good career versus a bad career, following these things because we think we ought to be doing it, right? I talk a lot about the shoulds. The shoulds are rarely any goods. But this is another huge challenge that people make when it comes to their career. And so my tip for you this week when it comes to your professional path is I want you to actually sit and take an honest inventory. So I want you to ask yourself, one, to that first group, am I falling into either of those buckets in terms of how I think about a professional path? Am I a planner who's looking for a really clear outline, or am I a see where it goes person and kind of just letting things happen to me? Neither of which work well. We always want to shoot for that North Star approach, which is what I teach my clients in my one-on-one work and in this program. So am I falling into either of those two buckets though, is the question I really want you to ask yourself. And then two, I want you to ask yourself, am I building my career off of others' expectations of success, off of others' definitions, right? Am I building my career off of the shoulds? And you don't have to share these two answers with anyone, but I do want you to take a really honest inventory for yourself because I think it's going to be eye-opening, right? If you are falling victim to any of these things, the first thing you need to do is recognize it. That's the first step. The second step is actually learning a better way. So that's exactly what I teach people in my program that I built, Find Your Purpose, Find Your Path. That's why I built it, was to try and teach people a better way to go about these things. So if you feel like you've actually struggled with getting clarity on your direction in your career as a whole, if you've struggled with making decisions when it comes to your career and having it feel good and aligned and like fulfilling to you, this is for you. So I will drop a link and you can go click to learn more. I would encourage you to do so because it's built just for people like you and is here to help. So click to learn more about it. Reach out to me directly if you have any questions at all. I'm here to answer them. And in the meantime, happy working.